All right, today we're diving into something that feels like it's been pulled right out of a sci-fi movie, a brain implant that can read your thoughts. But what's really groundbreaking is a built-in privacy feature that acts like a mental password. I mean, seriously? Think about that for a second. What if the most private space you have, your own mind, could be locked with a key that only you control? Well, this isn't just a hypothetical question anymore. It's the real deal, and it's at the heart of what we're talking about today. So first, let's get into what's being called the mind-reading dilemma. Because on one hand, this technology holds incredible, life-changing promise. But on the other, well, when you can read a mind, you have to ask a profound question. How do you protect it? Okay, so just for a second, try to imagine losing your voice. Not just for a day, but permanently. For so many people with severe paralysis, maybe from a stroke or a condition like motor neuron disease, that's their everyday reality. These brain-computer interfaces, or BCIs, are basically a lifeline, creating a direct link from the brain to the outside world, giving people back that fundamental need to communicate. And this is where you see that core conflict, right? The promise is huge, giving a voice back to people who've lost it. But the flip side, the peril, is pretty scary. I mean, what if that device becomes a kind of internal eavesdropper, broadcasting every little random thought you never, ever meant to share? So that was the big question for the researchers. How in the world do you control a device that can literally read your mind? If it's always on, always listening, how do you stop it from just blurting out some random thought that pops into your head? You have to put the user in complete control. To really get how they solve this, we first have to understand what the device is actually listening for. See, it's not just any old thought. It's a very specific kind of mental activity that we all do. It's called inner speech. And for anyone who's not familiar, let's do a quick definition. A BCI, or brain-computer interface, is basically a bridge. It reads the electrical signals your brain is making and translates them into commands a computer can use. To type text on a screen or even create synthesized speech. And this right here is where the real breakthrough is. See, older BCIs, they relied on what's called attempted speech. The user literally had to try to move their mouth and vocal cords to form words. That sends a pretty strong signal to the brain, but man, it is exhausting. The new frontier is decoding internal speech, that silent conversation you have in your own head. The brain signals are way weaker and harder to pick up, but if you can crack that code, communication becomes as effortless as just thinking. So back to the big problem, privacy. How did they solve it, especially when they're trying to listen to those super subtle signals from inner speech? Well, their solution is, honestly, it's genius in its simplicity. They built a mental wake word. That's it. The implant isn't just listening all the time. It's totally dormant until the user thinks of a specific pre-programmed keyword. It's a wake word, but for your brain. The whole process is just so simple and elegant. You can literally think of it like saying, "Hey Siri," or "Okay Google," but it's all in your head. First, the user just thinks their secret password. That mental command is the key that unlocks everything. It wakes up the BCI and tells it, "Okay, start listening now." And only then does it decode the thoughts you actually want to communicate. The user is completely in control, always. Okay, so this all sounds amazing in theory, right? But the real question is, does it actually work in the real world? Well, the results from the latest study are, frankly, they're mind-blowing. So this wasn't just some simulation in a lab. This was a real study published in the journal Cell with 4 actual participants who had difficulty speaking. 1 from a stroke, 3 from motor neuron disease. The researchers put these tiny microelectrodes right into the motor cortex area of their brains to listen in. And the results? Get this, an accuracy rate of up to 74%. Let that sink in. The device correctly interpreted almost 3 out of every 4 sentences a person was just thinking, not speaking, just imagining. And it was pulling from a massive vocabulary of 125,000 words. We're talking complex sentences, formed entirely from silent thought. Now, to put that 74% number in perspective, you have to understand why it's such a game changer. That accuracy level is right up there with the older BCIs, the ones that required users to physically try to talk. So this new system gets the same incredible performance, but without all the physical strain. It's just decoding silent thoughts. And it's not just the researchers who are excited. Other experts are taking notice. Sarah Wandolt, who's a neural engineer and wasn't even part of this study, called it, and I'm quoting here, a technically impressive and meaningful step. And she specifically pointed to that password feature as being absolutely crucial for user privacy. So let's pull back and look at the big picture. Why does all this matter? Well, we're talking about a system that can accurately decode silent thoughts. It protects the user's privacy with a revolutionary mental password. It's way less exhausting for the patients who need it most. This is, without a doubt, a massive step forward for all of neurotechnology. It shows we can push the boundaries of science while still being responsible. And that's really the thing, isn't it? This mental password is a brilliant solution for this device, but it also kicks open the door to a much, much bigger conversation. As we get better and better at decoding the human brain, we all have to start asking a really fundamental question. How are we going to protect the last true frontier of privacy, our own minds?